Have you ever looked back in your life and thought, boy, I wish I could go back and do that over again? If I had a second chance, I'd do it different. Well, today we look at one of those things in my life that if I had to do over again, I would do it differently. But before we do that, join me and my brother Kevin as we check out some trail cams that we put out about a month ago, hunting beaver. As a quick disclaimer, I'm going to say I think this is an otter and that's a beaver, but I'm not sure. They're quite a ways away and they're hard to tell that far away. You may disagree. I have been a pastor for, I think I'm on my 38th year. I was ordained as a minister more than 40 years ago. And in all of that time, I've pretty much lived by a policy that when I went to candidate or interview for a church or talk to my committees or my superintendent about a church, I never asked how much the money would be, what the salary would be. And quite frankly, most of the time, I didn't know what my salary was even while I was working. And quite often, I didn't know how much money I had in my bank account, except I just knew that if I was spending more than I was making, I had to do something about that and cut back spending. But if I had to do over again for those 38 years, I don't think I'd do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be greedy or anything like that. Quite frankly, most of the time, I still don't know how much money I have in my bank accounts. I have to go ask my wife. And quite frankly, I still don't pay attention to what my salary is. And I still don't receive honorariums for weddings and funerals and things like that. No, I still have this same sort of kind of stubborn streak about the money. But there's a scripture that Jesus used that kind of haunts me and makes me realize maybe I made some mistakes along the way. See, in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." And I've learned over the years, since I was a young pup of a pastor and now to where I'm an old pastor, I guess, I've learned over the years that that passage speaks to the church just as much as to the pastor or to the people that go to the church. And I've learned when you go to a church and you're trying to see if you're a match for that church, that if you can look at the budget of the church, you can see where they put their money. And if you see where they put their money, you see where their heart's at also. I remember, a number of years ago, getting a call from a pastor friend from out of state. He was in a different conference, and on the conferences committee that moves pastors and secures pastors for churches. And he told me, Rob, he heard there was a possibility that I might be open to a move. And he said, hey, Rob, we've got a church for you that we think you'll like. It looks like a good one. And so I asked him a little bit about the church. I don't know that I was that interested anyway. But I asked him a little bit about it, and he said, here's the thing. The last pastor spent so much time with the new people that the older established people of the church, they felt like they were slighted, and they wanted him to stop doing that. And we just want a church where a person pastor can come in and love on the people and just take care of the people. And I told my friend, we've known each other since college, I'm like, oh boy, you got the wrong guy for that job. It's like, that's not going to work out at all. There are churches that amass large bank accounts, and they want their building to look pretty and neat and tidy, and they don't want a lot of messiness in the building, which, by the way, new people are messy. I mean, if you've got a church that's had the same people in it for generation after generation, it's not so messy because they all know each other and they have all learned to get along. It's like the first 6 years of marriage are a lot messier than after 60 years of marriage, But there are churches that keep big bank accounts, keep tidy little buildings, that they don't try very many new ideas. They don't risk very much. They don't challenge themselves so much. They sort of, it's almost like a club that new people have trouble getting into. And if you're looking at a church, it's better to know that ahead of time if you're a pastor coming in than to find out those unspoken expectations after you get there. Yeah, I think if I had it to do over those years, whenever I went to talk to a board or a committee or a conference about a church, I think I would say, let me see their budget, see where their heart's at. Well, I'm just sort of pondering the years of ministry, and I have to say that I am particularly blessed. I am now a semi-retired part-time pastor. I've been in my current church. This is my 10th year in this church. I've been pleased. And for almost all of those 10 years, when we get together for church board meetings, the bulk of the meeting is deciding where to best invest our resources to help other people. And we just give way beyond what I ever thought a church our size could do. And that pleases me a great deal. Well, I don't know how close this camera focuses, but you may have heard some insects making a lot of noise in the background during this video. Well, if so, the weather is cooler today. This is the first week of August, and the cicada are coming out. We don't want to shut down their noise, even though they're really loud, because it's a symbol of fall. Well, we're halfway through another week. May God bless you and take care of you, and keep your hearts, your minds, your eyes focused on those that He cares so much about.